Krusty Krab is unfair! Mr. Krabs is in there! Standing at the concession! Plotting his oppression!
Hey guys, what the fuck is up, guys? My name is eManDance242, and there was something I was supposed to say in this video. I don't remember. I don't remember if it was important or was it not. My hair looks fucked up because I haven't taken a shower in like a day or two, and my hair gets really weird if I haven't taken a shower, but I haven't had to really go anywhere recently. But whatever. Welcome to another Radiohead review. That's it. Another Radiohead review. Okay. This album is an interesting one to me. I can say the same for any other Radiohead album, but I changed my opinion on this one a lot. When I first listened to this album, it didn't necessarily impress me all too much. I liked it a good amount, but compared it to the albums before and the one after this one, Hail to the Thief didn't feel as good. Then after a while, I started to really like this album. Like, I'd say it was one of my favorite albums by them. Then after, once I listened to it again now, I'd say it's kind of in the middle between those two. It's like in the middle of all the Radiohead albums for me. But still, it's a very, very good album. First off, this album is their most political ever. I like this change in style. This is their second most We Live in a Society album. Second to OK Computer, of course. That album was more against technology and isolation due to the technology. It was still very personal, like most Radiohead albums are. This is their least personal album. It's more so about the government. OK Computer was more so themed with fear and paranoia in mind, but this album has feelings of hatred and resentment. This is my favorite thing about this album. The anger, the rage. I like angry music. My favorite genre is metal. This album is obviously far from a metal record, but it feels like it has the same intensity to a metal record. Hail to the Thief is their most rock album since OK Computer. Sometimes it's not as much as that album, but sometimes it's even more so. But definitely way more than Kid A or Amnesiac were. I'd say Amnesiac was 75% electronic and 25% rock, while this album was the opposite. 25% electronic and 75% rock. We still had those experimental, weird electronic songs that were prevalent on Kid A and Amnesiac, but we still got a good amount of heavier and more energetic songs. All the songs have many different styles and genres. The songs feel a lot more aggressive, which plays into the anti-government themes. They feel very groovy as well. They still have that danceability to them. Not like real dancing, but you know the kind of spazzy swaying motions Tom does on stage? Yeah, that, but faster. There are two main complaints I hear about this album. The first being how inconsistent it is. Now, I tend to really like albums with different sounds, genres, and inspirations, and most Radiohead albums have that. But this album, it really doesn't work in its favor. In the Amnesiac review, I mentioned how inconsistent that album was too, but in more of a different way. I didn't really word it the way I meant to, but I meant to say the songs were not written with the album and the placement in mind. That's one way of putting it. But this album felt like they were written with the whole album in mind. Like, the songs transitioned well, I guess, but the problem is each song sounds completely different from each other. Like, a little too much. Honestly, I really like all the songs in here. There are a few that I don't particularly care for, but the majority I really, really like. It's just, they don't feel like they belong on the same album together. The other complaint is the length. Again, I personally really like longer albums with more songs on them. Some of my favorite bands have albums that are over an hour long. This album is 56 minutes long with 14 tracks. Now that is not long, at least to me, but I feel like this album is bloated though. It feels like there's a few too many songs. Songs like The Gloaming and I Will, to me, didn't feel like they needed to be there. The thing is, every track on this album is like a 3 or 4 minute song, with a few being longer or shorter, so it gets kind of repetitive. That's how I see it. There isn't really a break there. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Longer albums work well having some longer songs and some shorter songs. I mean, Radiohead doesn't tend to have longer songs. Their longest song is Super Collider at 7 minutes and 2 seconds. To me, that's not that long. To some, that is unbearably long, but I'm sure most of the people who really care about Radiohead, like as much as I do, are more so into the experimental side of music, and a lot of that music... Me! Sit down. Yeah, good hammy. Good hammy. And a lot of that music in that area tends to be long. Anyways, the point is when most of the songs follow a bit of this formula, it tends to be not as interesting, I guess. Also, this album is a lot more straightforward and less experimental than other Radiohead albums tend to be. There's too many ideas, though, that aren't expanded upon that much. The ideas are not extremely out there, but their difference is enough where it's just way too inconsistent. The opener 2 plus 2 equals 5, right off the bat, hits hard. You can tell that this is a very different change of pace from the band's previous material. The second half of the song is so chaotic and loud. The dynamic between the loud and the quiet parts blends so well. I like this direction a lot for the band. I really like the change in pace from the more softer and mellow Kid A and Amnesiac. This opener is perfect for that. It is one of my favorites by Radiohead. Sit Down Stand Up is a really odd song, but I actually really like it. This one has a lot going on, from the synths that start off the song, from the light guitars and the pianos in the background. The end of the song, again, explodes into this mess of sound. It sounds like something off of Kid A or Amnesiac, but a lot more unhinged and chaotic, which aren't necessarily words I would use to describe most of those two albums. Sail to the Moon is a beautiful ballad. The piano has such a heavy weight to them. This is one of those songs that are so beautiful, yet so ominous. Mixomatosis is an awesome, chaotic song. My favorite off the album. The painful vocals work so well with the deep, heavy synths and the drums. A Wolf at the Door is a great, heart-wrenching ballad that feels so unhinged at the end. I know I keep saying that, but the album is very unhinged. It's a great ending to a great album. Like I said before, I love the anger and the hatred on this album. It's very unique and I like it a lot. Many songs off the album are among my favorite Radiohead songs. I just love how angry it gets. And I love the political themes too. I prefer much more personal music that deals with more personal issues, which Radiohead usually does in most of their music, and that's definitely why they are my favorite band of all time. But for them to put out an album so thematically different, I just love it. I still feel those two issues, being the bloatedness and the inconsistency, hold this album back from being higher up. Like, this album really could have been up there among my favorites. I will do a ranking of all the Radiohead albums in the A Moon-Shaped Pool video once I'm done with all the reviews. This album is around the middle, but it's so close to being higher. I'm gonna give Radiohead's Hail to the Thief An 8 out of 10. This album is a dividing album among many people. It's one of the least talked about albums though, even though many of the songs are regarded as Radiohead's best. But I still think it's a great album. It's a nice change of pace for the band, and it still sounds as good as all the other styles and genres they've experimented with over the years. This has been Radiohead's Hail to the Thief. My thumb finally actually grew out. Like if you notice in some of my early reviews, my thumb was black because I hit my finger in the door one time back in July or something, and it it finally grew out. Because the blood was trapped under there and it finally fucking grew out. Whatever. This has been fucking Radiohead. Hail to the Thief. Fuck you.